reason why I like that song Successful, why I wanted to start here, because I feel like it's very a reflective song. You know, what does success look like for you kind of growing up? Because you hear what he's talking about, like, I want the money, cars and the clothes, the girls, I suppose.
Right.
And that's what he equated to being successful. Was that the same vision that you guys had back in the day?
Well, I say that at that particular time, I think that was spot on. I think, we were like 21, whatever. And it's like at that particular time, I think that's why Drake was very successful at that time. It like directly spoke to like what a lot of us were going through at that time. It's kind of a transitional place where a lot of times you don't have it figured out yet. And I think that you're still kind of young, so stuff like that, materialistic things and women are very much like what's on your mind. And it's a driving force in all of your actions and decisions. And so at that time, for sure, I was on board with money cars, and women. That all seems like great things for my 20-year-old self. But before that, I have to kind of think. So I'm interested to see what y'all thought about before that. But I just wanted to say that at that time, that was spot on. But I'd have to think about a little bit more what I thought about when I was younger.
Yeah, I think for me as like super young, at some point I did start realizing, we in the hood, we on the West End, and that did become a thing very fast. Yeah. Like, okay, well, nobody else seemed like they can decide. I want to be out of here. Like, I'm okay. Like, I was always okay with how how I was brought up, and I loved it. I would never change that, but I definitely did at some point was like, yeah, I want up out of here. Yeah. So I think that was kind of my first thoughts of even having friends like, did you guys live on the other side of town? So just going over there and just like seeing the differences, being like, I think I want to live differently.
I think about being younger, a lot of the materialistic things were the things that you kind of use as like markers for your levels of success. Also, that's what was portrayed to us, whether it was like through the music videos or the athletes. So, and, I've always thought like, fame and accolades would kind of come up with being successful. I remember even back in like high school, my little email address was NFL Get Ready.
That's true.
Sir.
So I just remember always thinking like, man, that's what success is going to look like, reaching to this point, whether it's like using my athletic abilities, but something that's going to be making you a lot of money, that's going to attract like all these other things that kind of came with it. What does success look like for you now?
So I think mine changed early on. I think this is the one thing that I don't know if it's changed back now, but one thing I learned right away from just like watching success, we used to like watch music videos and stuff like that, and behind the scenes stuff and documentaries and stuff. Yeah. The thing I learned right away was like, I want to be successful. I'm not sure I want to be famous. Like, I don't know if I want to be famous. Like, people can't go to the mall, you can't go to the grocery store. Like, I don't know if I want to be that level of like, I can't engage with the everyday person. Now, do I want to be well off? Absolutely. I want to be able to do what I want to do, when I want to do it as far as like, financially and then time-wise. But I think really quickly I started seeing like, well, I don't want to like everywhere I go, it'd be a riot. I can't even go to the mall or nothing, just go to grab some clothes or something, just have like somewhat of a regular life or normal life, I guess.
Success now definitely, as far as, especially in the financial aspect, is definitely being comfortable, like being able to do things that I want or for other people and I don't have to like worry about it. And, that takes, there's different degrees of that.
Right.
Yeah.
of course. And, you have to keep an eye on things. But I think that's definitely, you want to get to a place of like where just, you could do the things that you want. It's just like, I don't have to be like, oh man, how am I going to live the next 3 days? Because
I've been there.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Because I made this choice, or not forced to, go to half-price appetizers at Applebee's for 2 years straight like we did, because like, man,
dollar margaritas.
You might get a full meal for $10. Like, you 2 apps for $10.
$10, you can't beat
like,
that, bro.
You can't beat that type of life. Those are the sorts of things that are like that financially. As far as in everything else, I think success is just finally either living in your purpose or understanding that you're headed towards whatever your purpose is. To me, that is what has taken me a long time to fully navigate. I think I'm there somewhat, at least now, but I don't know if it's just me being too humble or anything, but I still don't necessarily know if that's success yet. Like I don't ever want to say that. And maybe that's just because that's a trick to always keep myself trying to move upward. I don't know.
I think as long as you always stay in a position where you're chasing that potential, that's going to keep you like on that road to success. Because, of course, like we've already talked about it before, but success is so subjective, you know, from one person to the next. Like I remember kind of thinking the same way like you. Q was like, man, I don't want to be to the point where I can't go somewhere and, you know, not be able to do like the regular everyday things. But I also don't want to be in that position where we eating cereal 5 days out of the week.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's stuff like that. And it's good because you, in a lot of cases, you don't really know much better when you're younger, and that's why I think a lot of that is fine.
Yeah.
Man. But if we were still sitting here now on the hunt for the best deal each day and all of these things, like of course it's different. You dealing with like kids. That's a different thing. But like if we were like all just out here like single again, just still like that would be disappointing.
Very much so.
Right? That would be very disappointing.
Even like when we think about success, we think about for me, most of the time it does go to like financial success. Yeah. But like even as you're talking about the days going to Applebee's for like the half off appetizers, the $1 margaritas. Right. So that's what I'm saying.
It's a great time.
So like how do you, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say like juxtapose that, because those were great times, but then we also know that we were struggling. But it didn't feel like you were struggling back then. It just felt like you was kind of like paying your dues per se.
Yeah, and I've always been the one that felt like I was going to have to pay my dues. I always knew that I wasn't like extremely, like I've grown some of my talents that I had, but it wasn't like I just was a natural something. I was going to be like a phenom or something. It was like there was going to be some work put in. So I believed that if you put the work in, that it would come out that way. I mean, and we've seen that you can't control that time, but if you put it in, it is there. So it's like, you know, as far as just keeping at it. During those times, you don't necessarily always feel the weight of it. And that's, again, that's also a nod to having the right people around you. Because that success probably moves into the relationships a lot as much as any of those other phases, like, you know, finances and health and stuff like that. The people you have around you is super important. You could be rich to the above. You got the wrong people around. You can still be miserable with a whole lot of money and a whole lot of health and everything else. Or you can be how the adverse and like just being around the people that are important to you and that help you feel okay with where you are. Like you said, to keep you pushing forward to where you're going to.
Man, because I remember back when me and Q was living together for how many? That was like two years?
Yeah, about 2 years or so.
2 years, man. And like that's right when they opened up that Little Caesars and they started doing them $5 hot and ready joints.
Like, Bristol used to be a buck. Ask me how I know. Put that chains together, like, bro, I think we got enough for a pizza and some breadsticks, bro, just to make it through.
That, and I remember going to Walmart getting the jumbo shrimps that we put in the deep fryer.
Yes, sir.
But man, it's just like pre-gaming before we went out, stuff like that. So like as I think back on those times, like you said, those are like core memories. Like we in the trenches together. So, but we also knew that we were kind of building towards something else. Like we knew that we didn't want that to be our final destination.
Right. And that's why I said I think it's good to have that young, because you still like it's okay to still be figuring out. And I mean, it always is. Yeah. But especially at that time, it's like even the outside world is okay with like, oh, you're figuring things out. So it takes a little bit of pressure off. I think as each year goes by, the fire, they turning it up little by little. It's okay,
for sure,
you gotta figure something out. And you know, life obviously takes its own directions, but.
Yeah, and I think also it's something to take away from that period. I think we shouldn't be looking to live in that period, but it is a good tool to have, because every once in a while, you already know, all of us know, like when you try to make a jump or you try to make a change, you buy a house or you buy a car, you got to put a whole lot of money down, and in the in between, you might be like, okay, well, I just got to make this stuff float until we get back to, I get back to my next paycheck, or I get back to build it up, whatever I built towards. So it's like knowing how to activate that sometimes, to be like, okay, this week we living broke-ish, where we are kind of tightening the belt. And other weeks we have done well. So it's like, okay, these are the weeks where we done kind of been head down working. Now we're going to do something for ourselves. So I feel like it does help build that balance.
True.
I think it definitely gives you perspective as well, because I remember, and this was a terrible thing to do. I remember being like flat out broke. I got my paycheck that I worked, and I remember like that week I was just eating nothing but macaroni and cheese all week long. I got that paycheck, man. I went straight to the mall, bought a jersey, a matching hat, and a bottle of Ian Sherry. And pulled up to Quentin's apartment. I forgot who you was staying with at the time, but yeah, and that was just, I felt on top of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though in relative terms, I was below. It's in the dirt somewhere, but you know, that's why I say like, man, success is just so personal and subjective, and like, man, it's a moving target as well. Sure.
And I think also too, I want to say kind of on the adverse of the fame side is that like, so you don't want to have too much where you can't do nothing, but it is definitely super valuable to have, I guess, what you'll call favor. So it's not like you're necessarily famous, but like when you find favor with people, sometimes with just being, because they know who you are, they know you from the community, or they know what you do, or they know your parents or whatever. Like sometimes you can get in places money can't get you in, or like you ain't got to spend your money because certain people gonna just look out for you. So it's like there is kind of that balance to all of it. Like, do you want to be super rich and not know nobody, or do you want to be super broke and know everybody? Like, it's definitely finding kind of that, like you said, a moving target.
That last name Porras holds a lot of weight here in the city.
Man, absolutely.
Man, listen, it's done just helped me a lot.
Yeah, just for all of us.
So I definitely, we talked about this the other day. Like I am no longer ashamed at what favor looks like. Like I used to feel a little bit a way about it, but at this point, it's like if something is getting me somewhere, and that's better for me, and it put me in a better position to help my family, to help people in general. Like I'm all for it, whatever that has looked like, for sure, and that's success as well, as y'all are kind of saying. It's kind of like the network that you're tapped into. That's success, really.
Your network develops your net worth.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, kind of going back to like that question, man, what does success look like for us today in our 30s?
Well, going back to the materialistic things in a way, I mean, I do this all the time. I just did this again recently. It's like sometimes I live out things I wanted to do when I was younger. Like,
That's got me in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's like it's certain things. It's just like it always has sat with you, and you're like, man, now I'm in a position to whereas I could do it, or I could have this, or this or that. Like, there's still that little kid that's gonna always want it, and that to me, that I feel good when I'm able to do that. And again, it's not like ruining my life, where I can still live out the rest of my week and things like that. I mean, I probably do that a little more than a normal person should, but I have a lot of those moments, and I feel with the opportunity to do it right now, you know, I might as well. You know, on the more serious note, it's still success is, again, as I'm striving towards it more, but you have to try to be, what's the right word for that? Excel at what you're currently doing too. Like don't, even though you're looking forward, you want to build, you also need to make sure you kind of master this level first.
Yeah, for sure.
Always want to be sure of that, because you don't want to get to the next thing and be unprepared.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm living in that moment right now where it's like I'm in like sort of a transitional period where a lot of things are about to like open up or look like they could open up, or things that I kind of been planning for could go well. But I'm in a space where it's like I almost wanted to slow down, because what I've learned is that like I can see what's around them quarters, and I'm like, I'm trying to prep now. And I'm like, okay, I'm a little late to prepping because I was rested. I feel like I was recovering and I was resting, and now it's like I'm prepping. But it's like, as much as I don't want to miss the turn, I do want to try to get as much prep work in. So I'm okay with it going a little bit slower right now, knowing that at some point it's going to really pick up. And hopefully I've gotten as much prep work as I can, like during that phase, to be in the moment, but also like you said, prepare for like what's to come.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of envisioning like the video games, right? You know, you got to master that level before you can go to the next one. Right. And sometimes what you're gaining on the level that you're at is what's going to help you excel at that next one.
Right.
I'm just like you too, Smooth, where going back to like my childhood, kind of growing up and not being able to afford certain things. Namely, these the King Griffey Jr. shoes.
Yeah, I remember you talking about
Man,
that.
Tough too, bro.
Man,
They so hard.
I remember seeing a commercial as a kid and wanting to get some, and then I even remember like the Jordans. I mean, we could never kind of afford like the Jordans, back then. So I think I overly spend now, and I still like don't spend as much, but I feel like I'm still just trying to appease that 9-year-old version of myself,
Right.
and that's where it gets tricky.
Yeah, let me tell you where it gets trickier. Make two that look like you that are very much into that. My oldest son is a complete sneakerhead. The younger one too, but the oldest son for sure. So like, it's tough to be like, I remember searching out stuff and wanting it, like trying to like find ways to get it. So like when he tried to do that, the thing I try to do always is balance that with just like making sure that I'm using that to like, okay, well, do this first, or at least I can say I can. Like everybody know I'm gonna do it because that's what it is. Right. But at least don't make me look bad, bro. Like do some of the work or something. Like make me look good. Help me here. Get half of it. Do something. But right now he's killing it, man. He's doing good on the grades. He's doing the workout, stuff like that. So it's hard not to. So I do. I know I spend way too much money on them, but I can really care less. Like if my bills paid, you can see where the rest of my money is going for the most part.
When you were younger, did you think about like your mental state as a version of success, like being in a good frame of mind? Or is that something that as you've gotten older, something that we started to kind of focus a little bit more on, like your peace?
I'm not sure I understood that well when I was younger. I think I wanted stability. I think I could feel it in my family. Like the goal was like stability, like the having a home, not having to worry about that, having food on the table. I think I felt that part of it, and I think peace of mind comes with that. But I don't think I identified like, man, this is actually like, living the dream in a way. I've talked about this before when we've talked or did other content and whatnot. Like how my dad never had his own bed even until he went to college and things.
Yeah.
So like what we had. And to me, it seems like he made it to me seem like that's bare minimum. That was like, he literally was like exceeding odds for where he came from. Like, so that was like everything to him. So I'm sure like that was wonderful for him. And so it probably was happening, but he just wasn't outwardly expressing it all the time. So I think I didn't have a good reference for it. But now, understanding that and knowing what bills are and what comes out and how things work each month, I'm like, man, that's a lot. That is a lot to maintain. But if you can do it and you have it, that is peace of mind for sure. Yeah. But I don't think as a kid I was really aware of that.
I think that was one of the first things I came aware of as a teenager was like, okay, like we're all having a good time, but like there's sometimes when I don't feel well about what's going on. Because that was the first time I'm trying to like explore the world. My eyes is kind of opening, I guess, a little bit, especially to my own actions. And so that was the first time I'm kind of like, okay, well, I wasn't feeling well. Normally this has passed by now, but it's kind of sitting with me for a long time. I remember going through the whole thing early on in middle school where I was doing writing. I was writing a lot of poetry when I was dealing with, I guess, finally first dealing with the absence of my birth father. So like that was the first time like I was writing from a really interesting place. Like I was really feeling the weight of like all my friends have dads, like what's going on with that? And I found a way writing it out and it came out and I'm like, okay, well I feel better afterwards, but I was like holding on to that in a weird space. And that's the first time I like noticed something like that. So I would say that was early on for me. I also didn't know what the hell I was dealing with. I did get help. So that was a long journey. So when I finally get to therapy in my, that's 20s, late 20s, early 30s, whatever time that is, it is like, oh, okay, that's what I was trying to do on my own. What a crazy task. But,
as a child,
probably again the kid that doesn't speak up. So like you don't necessarily know what's going on, and so I was a child that didn't behaviorally get in a lot of trouble. So it wasn't a lot to pay attention to. So it just wasn't something somebody would have even known, other than the fact that they did see those writings. So I will say that my mom was aware of that. So we did. Shout out to her for noticing that, and my teachers. I think it was a couple English teachers that really pushed that. I got some like awards and stuff for it. So it really did like make that pretty big for me. And I think it was the first like piece of like I processed through something, even though I didn't really know at the time what that was. So shout out to all of them for noticing.
Bro, man. And that's at a time where that's not common for people to notice or understand it. I joke with my mom often about just different things from my childhood. And again, I wouldn't trade any second of it because it's all made me who I was. But sometimes like I'd be like, man, like that was, you had extra sauce on that. Like for sure. And I always will, like just the other day, she was talking about something and I'm like, that's not what happened. I'm like, when we were kids, like this and this happened. She's like, no. I called my brother. I'm not even gonna give you a preface of anything. Just like, I'm just gonna say this. Tell me, is this right or is this right? And he was like, no. Her face is like, what? Yes, y'all did that. Like, it's that sort of thing. So it's funny that, or not funny, but it's like good that was noticed because it's a lot of things. And that was the thing I was gonna say. Like my brother first went to college. I was doing all sorts of weird things because he just wasn't there. I couldn't sleep. I was like, it was just all kinds of odd stuff that I think now people would be like, maybe you need to.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Maybe you need to like speak to somebody or understand. Like I knew he was going to college. I knew what for, but it's like I had like this crazy attachment to him. And it was just like, what do I do? Like, who do I talk to? Who do I
be
this?
positive. Like, you're supposed to be excited. But
exactly. Because again, at 8 years old, I had my friends at school, but you don't have people you could call on. Like, I probably couldn't even use the phone at 8 and do this and that. So it's like, I did a lot of odd things. And again, my parents didn't notice it or whatever, but it's like, I now probably, especially being in education, a lot of things I did would be like identified as, okay, maybe you need some support. Here's some support for that.
Yeah. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so shout out to the parents for doing what they can with what they
Absolutely.
knew.
What they know.
Absolutely.
For sure, I would say it's definitely helped me as a parent to know that like your kids are experiencing you different and you're experiencing them different. So it's like just trying to make space for all of that, make space and grace for that stuff. So
one of the quotes from the songs is like, I want the money, but it ain't everything. So like, what did you have to sacrifice to get to the version of yourself that you are today?
The chase.
Okay.
The way I was doing the chase. So we all know I had a great reset. So during the reset, definitely took on a business venture, like, and really right away it took off pretty slow, but then like picked up. So I thought it was really headed in a direction and then just like bottomed out. But even in doing that, it wasn't necessarily the successes or the failures that like got to me. It was the fact that like we started, it was supposed to be local. And then we were going to try to branch it out and then let other people go out and venture into the world because it was never my endeavor to be away from my kids. And that quickly, like I got too far in to where I'm like, okay, I can't let this thing die because I was put a lot into it for all of us to try to, move forward. So I had to like, okay, well, I got to go on the road for a little bit turned into a lot of it. And it was like to go from living in the house with my kids, seeing them every single day, to like being on the road 5 days a week and then really only having them at first every other weekend. So it really was 2 days. So I would get them Friday, Saturday, and then I'm doing church all day Sunday. So they would sometimes come back with me and then sometimes, go with their mom. So it's like to go from every day to just 2 days out of every other week. Nope. Didn't matter what. It could have became $1 million company. If I couldn't have gotten off of that truck and been at home more. Yeah. In the end, that's what made the choice. So I was like, that made me change the way I chase entrepreneurship in general. Everything, like in any jobs. Okay, like they have to be the priority because being away from them is just not an option.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Yeah.
How you, Smooth?
I think my biggest thing that has gotten me everything I've had in like these recent years where I feel a little more successful is like letting go of being stubborn in a way. Like even being in education, even I knew I was always being pulled towards it, but I had my reasons.
We all knew you were being pulled towards it.
Right. I had my reasons that I just didn't want to do it. Like at the time I felt okay about them, and then it's like, okay, if it's not this perfect, not even perfect scenario, but I would be looking for like the one thing, like, oh, that was my sign to not do it. Like and sometimes that is good in certain instances, but in that there was a lot of things where I could have started this sooner. And now I look back like, man, I've said this before too. It's like I wish that I was 27 where I'm at right now instead of 37. Like I'm fine with that, but if it was like, imagine what I could be right now if that was, So a lot of I was very stubborn about that, but you have to understand that if you're being pulled towards something and it's that aggressive and it's that just me being open to it, it's like, okay, you know what now? Okay, let me do this. And since I did that, it's continued to be one thing after another.
Yeah.
Stuff is already in play before I even know that I'm gonna make that choice.
Yeah.
And that's happened so much that it's almost scary now that I'm like, you know what? I have to just live my life like letting it go that way. Like and I found a lot of peace in that too. It's you can, it can be nerve-wracking in a way because like, man, you think, okay, here I am, I'm getting comfortable, but like, wait, I'm being pulled to something else again. And it's like, okay, am I supposed to do this? But I'm good with just continuing to go. So it's like not being resistant to those things because I very much was once upon a time. So I just kind of go with it now.
I think that's one of the things I learned too, like the timing of everything is so important. Like even for me, myself, like when I actually stepped into my career, if I were 6 months earlier or 6 months later, I would have missed that opportunity. So like just because I was always kicking myself like, man, I didn't go straight to college after high school and I took like 3 years off. But like if I would have went one, I definitely wouldn't have made it through. Having the mindset that I had back then. So taking those additional years off was kind of important for me to kind of develop into, the student that I needed to be successful at college. But then also, once again, like that path, it introduced me to certain people that came in at the same time that opened up the doors for the job that I initially got, that opened up the doors for the career that I had. And it's like, man, if you was just a month or two earlier or later, like it just wouldn't have happened. So I'm a firm believer of like the timing of things. And I think the fact that all these other things are kind of happening for you too, you're continue to escalate rather quickly too.
Exactly.
Rather quickly. I mean, it's just a testament that, you're on the right path at the right time.
Yeah,
and I think that's the thing that definitely always, the way we can see it, because it is a matter of, so for me lately, I've been kind of on this mindset of later but greater. Like, of course, we're showing up later to it, but like, because we have that extra age, you have the extra time to get experience, where we looked at it as wasted time or whatever time. But like, if you look at it, we all were doing some level of development, and if nothing else, learning to like discipline yourself or learning to let go. That like, I think like when I think of yours, I think of like when I'm being pulled to something, I want to make sure that it's something I actually like am able to do, am able to hold up to. Like, you try to pull me in this because you see I can do this, but for me, I'd be like, I want to check and make sure that I'm gonna be okay without there, because I'm the one that has to do it. And so like people can see stuff on you, but it is like, okay, for me, I'm always gonna wait till I know. And then when I know, like you said, once I'm okay with whatever the consequence is, whatever's gonna happen for my actions, once I'm okay with that, then I'm ready to move. But until I'm ready to move, I'll be playing tug of war like for the longest until I'm ready to let go. Like, I'll sit there and hold on to the rope. I'm learning to do that less in life, but it's tough not to do, because you do feel a level of like, I'm not just responsible for me.
Exactly, because at this point now, a crash and burn, it hurts a lot.
Woo,
like, in our old age, it's tough. Like a fall that wouldn't have mattered literally in our 20s.
Right?
We're gonna feel it much more. And I think it's like that in life too. It's like, man, it seems like a failure or something like that would hurt, and it would hurt, but it's happened so much, we know it's a part of life. And it's going to happen more. That comes with it. But it's what do you do after that?
Facts.
And I think because we all understand that, it's makes it okay. All these things, again, things have been going great now. There might be finally that thing that's like, oh, you know what? I did it, but that's not right. And then that is showing me, okay, you actually were supposed to do this. And I will understand that's part of the journey too.
Yeah, I think you had mentioned it before, like, having like the network around you. And like, I think that's always just been a huge testament I think to like our friendship, you know, even our extended friends, like you can communicate like, hey, I'm locking in. Because when I think about like one of the things that I had to give up per se, it would have been a lot of that time. Like I remember like being in school and I'd have to study and all that stuff. And like none of y'all ever pressured, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, let's go out and do X, Y, or Z. And like y'all all knew like what I was trying to accomplish. And that always played a role in that as well. I remember like with my wife, like when I was in that doctoral program and I actually got to like the writing stage of the dissertation, just being able to have the right person around that understands like the mode that you got to be in. Cause I'll tell her like, yo, once I put this hoodie on, because I had a writing hoodie.
Okay.
I put that on. I'm cutting all the lights off in the office. Don't nobody come down here. But to have people around that understand like what you're trying to achieve. And I think that's probably like one of the most important things on anybody, whatever journey you're on.
Yeah.
Is have people that support you and understand what you're at and kind of help you achieve like your potential and hold you accountable when you're not. You know.
For sure, yeah. And I'll say for me, I think something I said before on when we did Therapy Bros is that's finding the voices, man. Like the voices of the people who say that is important. That's I think that's what's been the most important about like the chair shifting I've been doing with everybody in my life is like it's important whose voice is saying what because I know, at least for me, that's going to be a big portion of how I respond, like how I show up. Like who's saying it is important. How they're saying it is important. And me putting them in the proper place is important too, from my standpoint, not from theirs, because they are just operating. But like it's important for me to put them in the right place because if I don't hear them correctly, I'm going to show up defensive when they just are critiquing something that probably is wrong. Because, again, your friends see for you. It's your friends who see the stuff you ain't see. We were just talking about, you sitting here, you ain't see none of the fuzzies. We like, you got a fuzzy up here. I can tell, like, hey, it's a whole bunch of fuzzies over here. Like, but I want you to get on screen and see that be seen on screen. Like, well, why you ain't show me how to?
Exactly.
Right.
It is like, but if I come in here clowning, I don't know how you're holding whatever you're holding that day. Like, if I came in here doing that in a different way. So it's like making sure that you have the right voices around you in the right spaces, man, it's so important.
Wow. Man, clipping that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Clipping that for sure. I saw this quote somewhere and it said, does success make you feel more seen or more isolated? I guess on your individual journeys, because I know, Portis, like you are a very reserved person. But now as you've gone through your master's program, you're teaching full time. Now, you out in the community speaking and stuff, like y'all are doing a lot more FaceTime with people as you kind of elevated in your career. How does that make you feel? Like, how do you internalize that?
For me, again, as y'all know, that's not my natural place where I'd like to be. You get the fulfillment of like you're helping people. Like we're doing something that's helping people. And besides just actively doing it, you're also like somebody seeing that and being like, man, there goes someone who, you know, just by seeing you in those roles, that's motivation for people too. And because of that, it makes me okay with it. I still have to find times to like decompress. I have to find times where I'm like, which I never used to do, like purposely I'm alone, like all alone. You have to make room for those things because a day for me is like, you know, I have 150 something people I got to interact with every day. And I'm responsible for something. Right. And when I look at it that way, it's like, oh, why did I pick that? But the fulfillment of it, even though there's hard days, that is both, it's bringing me like, wow, this is a satisfaction in life. And it's also like helping me grow to whatever, again, I feel like maybe I'm ultimately supposed to be. Due to that, like I'm okay with it. I still do want to have my times of being reserved, but I'm getting more and more comfortable with it as the time goes, which I think that happens with anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the same for me. I'm getting more comfortable with it and trying to use it as like a journey. So not trying to be perfect. Like when I let go of trying to be perfect, even in like speaking or like not stuttering or like speaking clearly or knowing what I'm gonna say. Like when I let go of those type of things more, I'm just enjoying more of what I love about it. Like I love speaking to people. I love trying to help. I love sharing my story. I especially love, y'all know this more. Even when we either being serious or being completely comedic, I love sharing my failures. They are my favorite stories. Like they just are. Because there's nothing, like now that I've come to grips with it, there's nothing more funny or more impactful than like a story where you tried. And even whether you try hard or whether you did something really dumb and failed really hard, because there's always a lesson to take from that. Either it's going to be funny or it's going to be impactful. Just last week, I was speaking to a group, two groups actually, we spoke to out in DeKalb for my job. And it's one of the things, probably my favorite things about my job. So I come in like trying to be quiet and like set my stuff down. They're like, no, come up here, right up here. Like, so I'm taking my coat off, walking up like, hey, y'all, what's going on? So we just kind of get into the conversation, have a good conversation with the youth or whatever. With some of the other instructors, and they were older white gentlemen or whatever, and they had good conversation, but we just going back and forth. The first conversation was kind of light a little bit. We got to some points and stuff like that. Second conversation, I was like, I'm gonna be a little more. The kids were a little more dead, and they just wasn't feeling us. So I'm like, okay, I gotta wake this room up real quick. So like, we started asking about money. Because I'm like, okay, let me lean into the money. They'll probably they'll try to find out how much is in the trades. You can make a lot of money. So somebody spit out a high number, and I'm like, going into why I wouldn't pay none of y'all that money right now. Half of y'all got your head down. And by the time I said the third thing, everybody's eyes started lifting up like, okay, wait a minute, he's finna call us out. But then like getting into why that's important. It's important to speak up. It's important to put your best foot forward and all this other things. It's just kind of getting into some stories and like really waking that room up and just being in that moment, like of just like owning that and just being in that space.
Kind of going off like what Q was saying about like, some of your greatest failures being your testimonies essentially.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. Okay. I don't trust anyone that they're the hero in each story. That's it. I do not. I tell my students this. I told my niece and nephew this growing up. If someone is just every single time, especially if they're telling multiple stories, and it's just never one that makes them look negative, I don't trust those people one bit, because there's no way. It's not like there's literally just no way. And then even furthermore, even if it's like somehow, I wouldn't even trust that, because you're not finding any redeeming qualities in your failures either. So that you're just really talking just to talk. And again, sometimes, of course, you just sitting back saying something. But even when we're laughing and talking about old stories, we all always mention kind of the lesson at the end. It's always for a purpose, or it's like, man, you know what? You saying this is reminding me of that time when this happened. And it's like, again, that's why I think some of us that haven't done therapy yet have been able to go without it, is because we have these sit downs like that we have, and we bring up these things, and everybody's overly transparent about the losses we've taken, or when we're confused. Like I tell you all the time, like I don't know what to do. I'm like, this is happening, and I have no idea what I'm doing here.
Man, if only the cameras were recording for the conversation we had before this.
Exactly. So when people are it's just all wins. It's just like I'm always looking like, okay, like I can't take whatever you're saying seriously.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking off of what both of you guys are saying, I was letting both of y'all get y'all stuff off, because it's like y'all was going. But starting with like reports you had mentioned before, like the importance of like modeling, having that person up there that kind of looks like you a little bit.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of like this story. I think this was probably like my third year teaching. No, this was earlier on in the career. Probably like my second year teaching. And I remember doing the attendance the first day, and like some dude, it was one of my black students, he got up and just started clapping. Super awkward. super awkward. And this is at Western. So like this is a lecture hall. We got like 45 students in here.
Wow.
And he stood up and clapped. And he was like the first black teacher that he's had his entire life.
Wow.
Entire life.
Wow.
And I was like, man, like we've been lucky to know like some in the K through 12 routes, like had a bunch at
principals too.
Yeah, principals, yeah.
Admin, all kind of stuff. Yeah.
So I remember kind of downplaying it back then, but like over time, it just became a little bit more monumental for me because like the modeling, right? Yeah. I'll share the story. I shared the story somewhere else before, But I had one student, and he was taking my class, white kid, used to sit all the way in the back. And like in the lectures, it kind of seemed like just rolling his eyes a lot. just rolling his eyes. And like he'll chuckle like when I'm cracking jokes and stuff. But like over the semester, you just kind of see like those walls breaking down. Because of course, as you know, man, when you are even both of y'all with these kids, like over time, it just takes a while. And like they got to know that you're serious too.
Yeah, for
to break those walls down. So eventually, like, he came down after class one day, and it was just him and I in the classroom. And he was like, told me a little bit about his background. So he grew up in a very racist household, super racist household, where his dad was always telling him like, yeah, you know, black people are dumb, this, that, and the other. So he was telling me that he was having a lot of contention in the classroom because he was saying like, I've been told this thing all my life, but I'm seeing something entirely different, and I don't know how to process that. So he ended up becoming like one of my closest students. Like we would just have conversations as he was getting ready to go into like his career. We having conversations after he got married and stuff. Like we still stay in touch. So man, like just having that model in front of you is like, you just never know when we're in these fields where we're dealing with kids, what space they're holding those days.
Right.
But then also like the impact that you have the potential to have. And it's like, it makes you show up with a little bit more intentionality for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And not dial it in on some of those days you want to.
Man.
But yeah, I wasn't even trying to go that route.
No, that's good.
The best one.
That's good stuff.
I want to make another side note and just give a shout out to Portis because, bro, to not have go to therapy, you sound so therapizing. That's even a word. Right? I don't know if that's a word, but bro, when you talking about like saving space for yourself, that's something that I actively do now, but it's something that I definitely learned. It was not something that like, I guess it was a notion on my own. I used to call them crash days, or I'd be like, everybody leave me the hell alone. I'm just going to lay down because I done burned myself out. But now, like, to hear you talk about the way you're like placing stuff properly, man, it's crazy that you haven't been to therapy.
Portis has been the group's therapist
for
for
the
the
longest.
longest too.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Portis holds everybody's problems.
I think that's a lot of it. Like that's why being a part of a unit is makes all of that a lot easier for sure. But I think it's just you have to be okay, and I guess that's part of it too. Being okay. Like there's a lot of my life I've spent where I'm not putting myself as the top priority, and I still do. We've talked about that. I don't. A lot of times I still don't. But I've gotten much more comfortable with just like, no, this is how it is. I'm sorry, but if it's the cliche of if I don't take care of me, I'm not going to be able to take care of
y'all.
none of this for anybody else. So I think that's what I've just kind of gotten to. I'm like, oh, you actually can just say this, and people might not be okay with it or not, but either way, it's going to happen.
Yeah, this is what's happening.
Exactly right. I think once you get to that attitude, I think that's a good place to be in.
Yeah.
I think to conclude this episode, I want to play this really quick game. It's called Successful or Stressful. I'll just read off a couple of things and just give me like a quick response as to if this is going successful in your life or stressful.
Oh, okay, current. Okay,
Yeah.
Let's go.
And let's start with our schedules right now.
Stressful. Stressful AF.
Yeah, it's lightly stressful now, and then it's about to get crazy again. So I had a few months of being able to relax a little bit, but it's over with now.
All right. And I'll cut this off if I need to, but are you, does people know that you're going into your second master's program?
I've started to tell people lightly because, well, again, I've wanted to make sure I tell y'all and the people that you know I'm close with because they're gonna see the wrath of it and the beauty of it too. So, but that's part of it.
And that's, well, even side note too, before we go back to the game, but like for you, Portis, more specifically, I know like when you're going through like a process like that, most people are going to advertise the journey. Like you don't. Like you pop up with a degree.
Right. That's really just not. That's me in general. It used to be a lot because there's so many people we see, oh, I'm doing this, and this, and then we never see nothing. And it's not even that I'm afraid of that. It's just I don't like to like because anything happens. One thing I've learned, especially my adult life, is the more than the unexpected can happen. And it might make for a detour in the journey. It might make for anything. So I don't. Again, I'm gonna tell the people I'm closest with. But as far as like advertising it to everybody. That's just not my style at this point. And I know I should do some of that more because, again, it's the inspiration. I think that's why I found like just showing like my report card each term. I think I wanted to keep, because I remember when I first did it, I said, hey, I did this one time and I'm never doing it again. But I realized it was certain people that is like, that's why I always post, like, if I could do this, anybody can. I always want that to be like, look, I was the most reluctant to do any of this. If I could manage it, and trust me, I have not stopped my life. You can too. So I realized that was a motivation for people.
And that's what I was supposed to say back to what Quentin was talking about. As soon as you said it, I was like, okay, that's what I was meaning. Yeah. Like when you talk about like kind of leading with your failures per se. And I love how Poor said like the redeeming qualities that people are able to see as a result. So like in the last thing that me and you were kind of talking before I did like that presentation for Brother to Brother. So I had like a bunch of high school kids. And the first thing that I did was took a page out of Q's book. And I was like, yeah, I'm from the west side of Rockford. I grew up in a low income household. Like I had a lot of strikes against me. We come from a blended family. Like I didn't go straight to school. And you kind of lead with that. And then they're like, wait, so how are you here now?
Why are you standing up here?
So it's like, man, like just telling them like, okay, you can do this. Like you don't, there's a lot of adversity or things that you have against you right now, but you can overcome them if you're willing to put in the work. And I'm not an exception to the rule. Like if I was able to do it, you can too. So I remember thinking about that, but I remember when I was prepping it, just because of like how I know that you operate when you're doing your speeches, I was like, man, let me go ahead and steal a page out of Q's book.
Man, we always stealing the page out of each other's book. Case in point, I'm taking one out of Porter's right now, and I'm learning to shut up and work. Like it's so exciting. Like especially like right now, I feel like a lot of stuff is unlocking for me, and I'm like locking in the discipline. So right when I figured that one out, like a lot of things are following with that. So it's like it's super exciting because you want to tell everybody, but it's like, bro, just shut up and work for a little bit. Then they'll see it. You won't even. A lot of stuff you ain't gonna have to talk about. They'll just see it. Like it's just, so it's like that's that bit of doing that. For a little bit for the expectation, but also because, you know, when things are in that infancy stage, you gotta keep that thing protected a little bit. So it is a bit of like there's also that like the thing you learn about clothing in your circles is there's another reason for that too, is like not so much that people are trying to attack you and all this other stuff that we try to make up sometimes, because that may be happening, but that's not gonna stop you. If you really moving forward, nobody else trying to hate on you is not gonna stop you. What's gonna stop you is you. And what's important is that you have to hold on to your belief, and like you said, you are going into so many obstacles out there. All it is stuff that's making you want to stop. It's going to make you want to stop. You feel like, well, this might not happen. I'm going to look like I failed, or I'm not going to hold up to my word or whatever. But it's like, bro, you have to keep you so locked in because you just got to hold on to it. And that's why it's important sometimes to be quiet or to be mindful of who you have around you, especially in the early stages.
Yeah. No, back to our game after our little detour, man. Took a left and then another left, but I love where we went. So I guess for myself, I would say that my schedule right now is kind of stressful as well. And it's self-inflicted. I know that. And I know that about myself, that I'm going to constantly keep myself doing more than I need to be doing. But also, like, as you start, like for me, like transitioning up here to Rockford, like for my classes and stuff, having to adapt with a new textbook has been tough. But yeah, very stressful right now, but it's just, I guess, a good stress, you know, to have. Next one, and I was thinking about you specifically with this one, Q. Your sleep routine. Successful or stressful?
I would say successful.
Okay,
because I've let go of the fact that, like, with my eyes open, feet hit the floor. So it's like if I'm awake, I'm gonna give it about like 5-10 minutes. If I ain't falling back asleep, I'm getting up. So it is just most likely it's more or less just going with the flow. Like I'm gonna get in my sleep. I'm averaging about 4 or 5 hours a night. But then during the week, sometimes I'll nap or stuff like that to make up for it. But it's just where I'm at right now.
Now, does that work for you? Like the 4 to 5 hours?
Yep, it has been lately. Yep. So for a while it didn't, and I feel like for me too, the more I'm like in shape and back in the gym, it feels a lot better. And my eating habits, so those have been way, way, way better. And also the times I'm up. So I'm up super early, but I'm normally, I guess not in bed early, but I'm not up extremely late most nights. So that time I'm up in the morning, I'm not eating junk or nothing like that, and I don't eat late at night. So it's been a little better. It hasn't been crazy on me, but I've been so much more productive. It's when I get all my productive things done are from 3 to 7.
Man,
3 to 7 is
that is
wild.
wild.
The rest of the day is house money, except for being sleepy. But again, I learned like certain fruits and stuff, like just keep me energized, or like just keeping the dietary stuff right, and then not eating all of the junk, so it's not dragging me. So like at some point, it did kind of like it just evened out.
Okay, smooth.
Yeah. It's pretty successful currently. It's taken some adjustment. The time change threw me off. This is the first time. Well, usually it just throws off my mood. This is the first time where it's like I'm so accustomed to like getting up at one particular time. Like since the time change, I'm up an hour earlier. Like no matter what, my body was just still at the other time. So I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this? But I have found for what I do, and I think I mentioned this before I started, and it has been in play. It's a lot easier for me to like be prepared and do stuff in the morning. Not 3 in the morning, but I would rather like. Okay, when I first get up, I now like once a few minutes of scrolling, I'm not going to die, but then I go straight to my laptop and then I kind of get myself prepped for whatever the day holds, because at the end of the day, once the bell rings, I'm done. And so because of that, especially with how my classes are, my afternoon classes, I go like 3 straight, and they are a special 3. So because of that. There's no way I don't even have like the energy to do that. So that has been good. And I really don't, for the most part, I don't have any reason to stay up late. So I really don't anymore. And my body will be tired. It will let me know like, okay, yep. Obviously if I'm doing something specifically or I'm out or something like that, I'll be up and fine. But if I'm just at home, it's like my body will be like, nah. Go ahead.
Nah, bro.
Go to bed. So yeah, I would say that actually is successful, and this is maybe the first time in my life it is really.
Man, I will also add the third success. Okay. So for me, that's why I asked you about like that 4 to 5 hours works for you, because I'm at 6. If I get anything more than 6 hours, I'm going to be more tired, which makes no sense. Okay. Because I tried to put myself in like sleep 8 hours a night, and then that just was so counterproductive for me. Right. But then anything under those 6, I'll still get up, but I'm not going to be happy. But the other thing that kind of changed my life recently, because kind of like how Portis, I want to get most of my stuff done in the morning. I'd like to get my workouts done in the morning, because it sets the tone for my day. Because I feel like if I go to the gym first thing in the morning, I'll make better eating decisions. Yeah, for sure. Because normally I'll just be like, okay, I'll grab this donut, I'll grab whatever else that's unhealthy, and I'll work it off later. That's right. The lie that I tell myself that I choose to believe. So the thing that's been like a cheat code for me, and I'm not sure if it's healthy or not, is I got an old school alarm clock that's on the other side of the room.
You gotta get up, huh?
Yeah, and it's a little cheap $10 alarm clock that I got from Walmart. So like the alarm itself is like this huge siren that scares me out of my sleep when it goes off. So I set that for like 5 o'clock in the morning. So what I'll do is I'll set an alarm on my phone for 4:55, because I'm gonna do like ports. I'm gonna get my little scrolls in. But before 5 o'clock hits, I'm out of the bed to make sure that doesn't go off. That's what's up. Once the feet hit the floor, I'm good for the day. So I will also say successful for the sleeping schedule. One last one, and this is going to be an interesting one. Your last financial purchase.
Elaborate.
I'll go.
What do you mean by that?
Triple entendre.
Right.
Okay. All right, so I'll leave this one to give Porter some time to get his answers together. Let's say, and of course I didn't make this purchase today, but it's the purchase that kind of stands out for me, is I spent like $200 to buy an external hard drive. Okay. And yeah, it's an 8 terabyte hard drive. Oh, yeah. And because we're doing more of like the podcast and stuff, like them data files be
huge. Huh?
Man. Yeah. So I was like, okay. It's a bigger purchase for myself, but I feel like it's necessary. I feel like it's going to help me to be successful, play on words, and like some of the future stuff that I'm trying to do. And I've been wanting one for a long time, because I be just downloading stuff. So that was my last financial purchase, like the big one. So what about you guys? And we keep it in that context. Unless you want to talk about some of your other purchases.
No,
got $225.
I don't know what you mean by that, but what I will say, for me, it's definitely lately.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I tried to.
Oh, it'd be cute.
I was prepared.
I tried.
Why would he do that?
Why would you say that?
I was so good.
Oh,
I was even prepared to go next to you some more time.
it's cool. I wanted to get it out the way so we could move on. Move on.
Oh man.
For me, I guess, are we asking, what are we saying about it? The purchase, whatever.
Successful or stressful? Actually, yeah, successful or stressful.
Okay, I think still successful, but I think about it now as far as like my clothes and shoe purchases. I do think about it more than I used to because I'm always struggling with that of like, you can do this now, so you can do what you've always wanted.
Yeah.
Just get everything.
Time to not go crazy.
Right,
Huh?
it's hard to not do that. You can afford it. You don't have any kids, so you have that on your side also of like this and that. You still take care of everything you need to take care of, so why not? But then there's that other part of like, you need to save, you need to take this, you need to get this off your credit report. You need it's a constant battle of that. But I did just do kind of a large kind of winter cart of clothes somewhere.
Cart of clothes.
Yeah, but to me, it's successful because a lot of times with that, it's not even trying to impress anybody else. Me looking good is actually helping me be better at what I'm at. Because if I have like, if I'm even a little excited about getting up, putting this on, that's helping me over the course of the day because I'm excited to be there and in that thing. So I think the clothes cart, I think that is a good purchase for me.
Okay. I'm gonna go duality. I'm gonna go one successful, one stressful.
I think that's what we should have did too. So yeah, go ahead, Q.
So my successful purchase today, I'm gonna actually show and tell. Was my lunch.
Yeah.
My successful. Man. So instead of getting junk, I got some fruit here. It's got some chamoy and tahini and lime. So I don't know how healthy that part of it is, but having fruit as opposed to some junk for lunch because I was on the move. It was still fairly quick, but still only cost me about $10. For that same $10, I probably would have had something at a fast food restaurant. So that's a successful one. The one that is stressful and it is also self-inflicted is like, I got to go sure up with Uncle Sam. So I got to go meet with the accountant when I leave here. And I am not excited about that conversation at all because it's something I've been putting off while I've been trying to like restabilize our day-to-day life and like the foundation. But I knew that I had to sure up and I see the preview of some of them numbers and I was like, okay. I said, can we break it up? He said, yeah. All right, well, I'll figure it out then. Like, but again, I knew I had to do it. A little bit stressful, but par for the course.
Par for the course.
Yep.
Let's go reverse then, Boris. What's the stressful one that you've done?
A stressful one. Man. Do you have yours already?
Yeah, man.
Let me think for a bit.
And it's not even like a big purchase, but it's so my wife we just moved up here, so she wanted a new Christmas tree. Now, I'm thinking Christmas trees are cheap.
No, they're not.
Yeah, as I just found out this past weekend, right? So, and she, luckily, she did go on the cheaper route, and the tree only cost $200, but it still was. I don't really see the value in it, but you know, that's a stressful purchase for me, one that I did not want to make, but I had to because I promised her a tree. Yeah. So. When I thought trees were like $50.
Yeah, no, they've come up some. I
mean,
will say they will hold for a while though, because we made an investment on our tree a couple.
Those were her selling points
years ago. It's a good selling point. I'm gonna shoot this a bell.
It pays for itself. So much time.
It can.
Yeah.
Love you, honey.
And because if you look at the cheaper ones, you'll realize why you
should buy it. Yeah, we did. We tried. So I did try. Like, okay, well, let's just look. Yeah. I'm looking like, let's move up a little. Let's move up a little more.
We went through so many of them Walmart trees.
Yeah. I did like our tree.
They work, but it ain't gonna get
the same.
Right. You have to really you got to have a
real
expert
good,
decorator.
Decorator, yeah,
Right.
make the decorator a lot
to
harder.
pull that off.
Yeah,
You talking made me think of mine. This week I had to get a new radiator in my car, and I knew it was needed, but it was because of a leak. So I had just been filling it up, kind of doing the stopgap thing. And, and I'm not even like a big car person, but I mean, I know the basics at least, and it's one of those things I remember. I'm thinking like, man, I've definitely put way more money in this car than I should, but the car is paid for, so I don't have a car payment. I can afford a car payment based on what I do now, thankfully.
Okay.
But
Takes away
that would take away a lot of my
From the carts.
right, exactly.
Winter cart.
A lot of the fun things I like to do, it would change that. So is it better for me to just spend the whatever hundreds that was today and then keep living my life until I'm at a different the spot I want to be at before I add an additional car payment? Or is it like, do I look at it like, okay, just be responsible, get something now, this and that? That's a tough call. I mean, needless to say, I did just get the new radiator.
Right.
That's what I did. But I thought about it like, is that silly at this point? Or like what? It took me a while to figure out what I should do about that. And it's a tricky choice to make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man, we went a lot longer than I thought we were going to, but that was great.
Yeah, it was.
Any last minute thoughts or anything?
No, I don't.
Man, I would just say, if nothing else, success is individual.
Same.
True.
All right. Thank you, Q.
There it is.
Closing us out. The benediction. We out of here.